Uh, if we go under UPF, we cannot clearly educate even Christian leaders as for blessing and the Messiah, true parents, those things. That's why in order to educate more the role of Christian, which Mother is emphasizing, we are thinking how we can establish like OCLC in Oceania, like ACLC. So those discussion was happen. Then also we discuss with America side or Philippine side, and also we discuss with President Hori and Reverend Julius together. So through those discussion, new concept came. This is not only just Oceania level. Mainly mainly Christian nation is Oceania plus Philippine, even inside the Asian Pacific. That's why instead of just Oceania, better to go like concept of Pacific Christian Leadership Conference all together under the Asian Pacific region. So that was our meeting last time with President Hori and also the Reverend Julius. And during that time, President Hori also gave some vision, a PCLC, not only just PCLC. What's the role of PCLC? Educating for Christian minister, and also testify to parents' blessing is of course important. But in the same time, the role of Christian inside of Korea, they have to accept true parents actually, and they organize KCLC, but I'm not sure how much KCLC is standing and supporting true mother. That's why last time President Tori also mentioned, if PCLC stands strongly, then we can ask the Christian community from the Pacific to support to KCLC, maybe together with ACLC, maybe also encourage to JCLC, Japan also, JCLC, then totally connect to Korean Peninsula, Heavenly Unified Korea. That's why centering on this vision, all our leaders gathered together, and we have to establish PCLC, Christian Education Corporation, and connect to our True Mother's vision and Heavenly Unified Korea. That's why I think this vision or this direction is really important. That's why when we discuss or to develop our plan, our each person's sharing or some concept or unity is really important. That's why instead of just a few persons discuss, officially welcome our Dr. Kittle, because Dr. Kittle continuously educated in the Philippine Christian pastor or leader until now, and he had a special lecture for Christian because he educated long time for ACLC in Philippines, and also President Hori, because this is also Asian Pacific too important project. So President Hori and Dr. Kittle together, and also the Southeast side leader is Reverend Julius, and Oceania side joined together, and we have an official meeting from the beginning. Then I think gradually in Oceania side, we have also several leaders who will involve this Christian movement, but we didn't invite yet. And I think Philippine side or each region side, there is many leader, maybe internal leader, our family federation leader, and even our Christian leader, maybe they are existing. That's why we have to think which level of people we have to include, and what kind of discussion we have to develop, and what kind of process we have to go forward. That's why this is the first meeting, kind of brainstorming together and discuss about concept or process. Maybe each of us, we have some kind of concept what we should do, some few topic we should discuss or have to decide. But I think in the beginning initial stage, maybe all our leaders opinion and concept and develop together or build up together. This is really important. That's why we organize today's meeting, even just last minute information. So because a little bit busy, everything busy, but I hope really I'm appreciate everyone to join today's meeting. I hope even today, Trumada emphasize about SCLC, even YCLC, really Christian things. Trumada recently, I don't know, suddenly Trumada started to emphasize about Christian. So something, there is some hope here. So I think we are looks going align well, and really also President Hori gave the good vision to us. So I think we can develop this contents more. So this is the background of this PCLC concept and also today's meeting. So I hope all leaders share your comment and idea, and we want to develop this PCLC more. So thank you for joining today's meeting. So I'm not sure who better to give a free talking, or maybe Reverend Julius, because you also discussed together with President Tori that time.
You need to unmute.
Okay, supposed to be I will show some slides. Okay, okay, let me do it. I'm very sorry, I was supposed to make this slide for this meeting, but because of too many schedules yesterday and today, so cannot catch up with our schedule. Where is it? Okay. First of all, thank you very much, President Hori. So as Reverend Yutaka mentioned, so we have our initial discussion with President Hori, and actually it's very exciting. The concept of the Pacific Christian Leadership Conference, one of the major initiative, especially here in Heavenly Asia Pacific Region 2, because primarily Asia Pacific Region 2 is of course, in the Pacific side of Asia Pacific, the bigger Asia Pacific region, and more than around 60% of the population of this part of Asia Pacific region 2, more than around 62% are actually Christians. So that's why this is actually very important as one of our strategies to support our True Mother this time. So this is the concept of the Pacific Christian Leadership Conference. I'm sorry, many are not filled up. So in Asia Pacific region 2, we have 20 nations, and the total population is 463 million. And when I check the population of Christianity in Asia Pacific, of course, that includes also other countries in Asia Pacific, but it's around 280 million Christian population. So that's more than 50% of Asia Pacific region 2. So that's why we are targeting like 50% of region 2 when we talk about the Christian population. So this is the proposed setup. Of course, we still have to have brainstorming. So PCLC, or the Pacific Christian Leadership Conference, must be a program or initiative under the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification Asia Pacific 2, which is different from IAPD. IAPD is one of the pillars of UPF. So it's under the structure of UPF, but this one, we wanted PCLC to be directly under FFWPU, which is almost same as the nature of the American Clergy Leadership Conference in USA, in America, which is an initiative of FFWPU. So it's under the structure of FFWPU. So this is the concept that we want to follow also for PCLC. We still have to formulate our vision and the mission. And then this, I just took note of some, based on our meetings and discussions before, some of why we need to set up PCLC. Primarily, we need to have deeper education of divine principles for Christian leaders. Not only the pastors, but including their like lay ministers and other Christian, primarily the Christian realm. So we need to have a divine principle education for them, especially if we want to break through in Asia Pacific region too. This is so important. And then also how to bring the blessing in the Christian realm. So we already have some kind of model cases where the Christian leader received the blessing, completing 3-day ceremony, and even conducting blessing in their own congregation. So we want to strengthen this both in Oceania and here in the Philippines. And then also, as mentioned also by Reverend Yutaka earlier, to support the goal of heavily unified Korea through the KCLC, Korean Christian Leadership Conference, and the WCLC, which were just launched in December 2019. And then also strengthen the role of the Pacific Rim nations for heavily unified Korea. Actually, I'm checking some True Parents words which connects the Pacific Rim island nations and also the role of Christianity. So maybe later on I can show that. So the organization, first, I think we need to start thinking of the founding members. We can start writing down some of our Christian ministers or leaders who are very close to us already, and then maybe we can come up with a number, let's say 12, providential number, and then because this is also very important to get their ideas also later on, how to set up the PCLC. And then the organizational structure should be clear. What's the connection with FFWPU? Will it be a legally registered organization, or it will just be a project or a program of FFWPU? So these are the things we need to also discuss and finalize. Actually, I got this from the World Clergy Leadership Conference resolution during the inauguration of WCLC. And many of this actually we can also adapt for our PCLC. So maybe I don't need to read one by one, but actually when I try to look at it, then basically it's actually very good for us to use this as a reference when we also start thinking of our vision and our mission. So this is the resolution, which I think if we are going to launch PCLC, then we also need this kind of resolution. This is basically the coverage of the PCLC, primarily Philippines and Oceania. There are many Christian background and foundation, especially in the Philippines, being a Christian nation and primarily a Roman Catholic nation. And yeah, this was given by Dr. Kittle in very interesting about the constitution of several nations in Pacific. Really, the Christian principles are even included in their constitution. Samoa, this one is Vanuatu, also talking about Christian principles in their constitution. PNG, Papua New Guinea, also talking about Christian principles. Very interesting. And this is also Solomon Islands, specifically mentioning Christian principles. Even Philippines also very clear in our preamble in the Constitution, the Christian background of the country. So this also, I try to research some words from True Parents about Christianity and so how we can support heavily unified world like this. So anyway, very rough, but maybe I will develop more and then I can send to our group so that we can develop more this concept. Yeah, so anyway, as also emphasized by President Hori, that uh, because in UPF we're very careful about witnessing, right? Because we try to maintain that neutral perspective and very universal. So that's why we cannot talk directly about our doctrines, and even blessing also we're very careful about the ceremonial things in the blessing. But here, through PCLC, we can directly approach the Christian world based on our doctrines, teaching the divine principle as is. So I think Dr. Robert Kittle already mentioned that he's very inspired about this because he developed already some lectures, deep lectures centering on Christian perspective, centering on the Bible, and using the Bible also to support the unification, the divine principle. So that's why I think this is powerful when it comes to supporting our witnessing here in Asia Pacific region too. So yeah, I think that's my sharing this time. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Julius. So, President Hori, maybe you have some comment before going to others.
Good evening. Thank you for participate this meeting. Just we begin to discuss or share the concept of PCLC, but already WCLC and KCLC is successfully launched by centering on two mother. So it's I mean the image is the third wave of Christian providence, epoch making event, and also the movement, a continuous movement. So I want to I want to ask each one of the member or each one of the participants today. So please bring some your idea to make rich the PCLC concept much more meaningful. So please put some your suggestion or ideas, whatever, and also based on the recommendations from the history so far, the ACLC, especially in the Philippine side, and also the relationship with Christians, Christian leader in Oceania or Philippine or Asia Pacific. So, so I want to hear the good advice or good idea to make a good concept for PCLC, and also make a good goals. So we need some goals, absolute goals, and also the some the goal on the process. So we need several goals, and also it's okay not today, but we need discuss about the planning. So what kind of development is good, or about something to be careful about to proceed, and also we little bit we need a wisdom to how to connect with education, the further the education of UPF and ACLC, and then how to connect this one, PCLC, and also connection with WCLC and KCLC. I have some idea to invite some KCLC Korean Christian pastors, invite PCLC, and then we can show how the two parents, providence of two parents is powerful in world. Now, under the Moon Jae-in's administration in Korea, Christianity is very became weak. I mean, they brought some cause of corona pandemic. They continuously held a big rally, even in the corona pandemic situation. So they they created some clusters. So they are accused by entire society, and also the recent Korean the word of Christians, it's like a little bit cult religion. So now the situation is I mean the social influence of Christianity is declining. And also in Japan, now the total population of Christians in Japan is less than million. So we have some actually we on I gathered the votes, number of votes for to the election 2 years ago. I gathered we gathered 160,000 votes for some congressman. So already we have some such kind of influential power in Japan, but the Christian number of Christianity is less than million. It means almost 500,000 of Catholic and 500,000 of Protestants. So already we are competitive force in Japan to compare with some relatively we are one of the big denomination in as Christian denomination in Japan. So for example, Lutheran church have a 50,000 members in Japan, but yeah, we have two times bigger than them. And also Lutheran church, or yeah, in some way, in this way, we are already some some volume in Japan, in Japanese Christianity. So I also want to stimulate so Korean KCLC, and then it makes some influence to Korean Christianity, and also the Christianity in Japan is very much influenced by Korean church, Korean Christianity. So actually in Tokyo area, especially Shinjuku area, there are a lot of Korean Christian church. So if their perspective about true parents will be better, then it also a good influence in Japan to Japanese Christianity. So it's a kind of chain reaction. So multiple uh, 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 effective. I mean the PCLC, if PCLC works well, the result will be the multiple is very much more bigger effective in parents nations, Korea and Japan. So and also it makes good relationship. I mean the Heavenly Japan and Heavenly Asia Pacific will have some common table to cooperate each other. Until now, there were not so much common base between Asia and Japan or Korea, but the Christianity will be a good commonality to work with together. So and also for Christianity witnessing, young people is very existing of young people is very much powerful, even for American Christianity. So the especially the Church of Noel Jones, he impressed about Mujokon dance. Actually, that was the key. So such many youth, very hopeful and very powerful. They have very strong faith. So Reverend many Reverend very impressed about that, and then start more start to involve much more than before. We also have some such a we can provide such kind of a part we already have. So it's very it looks like very many possibility to achieve something. So especially for Oceania part, Rally of Hope is I think it's much better to to uh, to prepare Rally of Hope. The PCLC will be much great impact about the society and also Christian pastors, and also for members. It's good. It will give a good motivate to their activity. So yeah, so I want to share those things today. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
And also I already reported to mother. We are start to planning those concepts. So PCLC. So I want to I told to I reported to mother, please give us some guidance. May we proceed or stop, or how to develop, or what kind of launching will be better, or those things. Please give us the guidance. So already, so today, during during my video presentation to mother, little bit smile on me, because I sent 30-page long report about Asia Pacific during the period. So during this period, so yeah, so to mother, to mother remembered. So it's a quality is more important than quantity. I know that, but still, to mother felt something. Oh, still, so she's glad to we are doing something hardly. So yeah, she feels it looks like better, good. So I think that's why she smiled on us. Yeah, thank you very much. So
Yeah,
please
thank you
give,
very much.
some ideas. Yeah,
Thank you very much, President Tori. Wow, 30 pages report is very great. Thank you very much. So then maybe Dr. Kito?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, President Hori, for your involvement. It's absolutely critical. The link to True Mother and her support for this project is, you play that role, and we all recognize and understand that it's very, very important. I need to leave within 1 hour. I had another meeting scheduled. It's with regarding our UN application for YSP. So if I may, I'll report and stay here until that time. They already delayed that meeting 1 hour because of me. They were supposed to be a little bit earlier. But I am actually very excited about this program. I think it has tremendous potential. So I looked up the word Pacific, and we all know what it means. Excuse me. It means peace or peaceful or reconciliation. And so when Mother talks about the Pacific Rim, I don't see it as just a geographical location, but also the rim where this peaceful world can be initiated. A few years ago, I think it's now 3 years ago, President Hori, I was invited to do a tour of the island nations of Oceania. And I was astounded by the response from the education that we gave. And we gave education to political leaders, to teachers and educators, and to religious leaders. And universally, their response was, in my experience of education, the most positive response, honestly, I've ever had in terms of the active response. As Julius showed, several of these nations are, by definition, in their constitution, Christian nations. And so I showed them this slide, and then I said, your constitution, your nation, your legal system, your structure, your culture is based on Christian principles. I said, what are they? And of course, they couldn't understand. And then we explained divine principles. And they were excited. And because they have this Christian foundation in the deepest part of their legal structure, several people told me, give us these lectures, we can take them into the school tomorrow. We don't need to filter them. We don't need the universality that filters these presentations, but just give them to us, train us, teach us how to teach, and we can bring them in our schools, teach our children, teach other pastors. I come from America, and I've done research on this with the PLA, and now more recently. I want to share some slides to show what is really happening here. This is the after World War II from 1945. Then now we have this confrontation between democracy and communism. And Father said this, if Christianity had received me in 1945, I would have united the world in 7 years. Through the blessing, I would have opened the gates of both earth and heaven and realized the kingdom of heaven. But as I sought to restore the nation, Christianity, together with the rest of the world, opposed me. So this, I've heard this, and we've all heard this before, but I kept wondering why. And when we look at Father's life, there were two ideas that emerged, very prominent in political structures or in cultural ideologies based on this, this Cold War era. What is communism? And we all know what Father invested into communism. We're reviewing that now because we're doing the VOC series of education with the government of the Philippines. And the other one is free sexism. So these are the two ideologies that emerged from 1945 on a global scale. And if Father had been accepted, then clearly these two ideologies would have been dead in the track. They would have been killed. That's what Father's mission is, to do this. I want to show you a little bit about the sexism because it relates to the Christian responsibility, or in this case, the lack of responsibility. Christianity could not respond to this free sexism because they had rejected Father, because they didn't understand the context of the fall. They didn't understand the mission of the Messiah. And because of that, then their voice in opposing sexism, this free sexism, they couldn't speak because they had no mind. Their education wasn't there, so the tongue wouldn't move. And my heart aches because of this. This was a book that was published in America by a Harvard University professor who studied moths. The moth, the bird, the little insect that flies around the light at night. He had never studied sexuality before. He wrote this book, and in this book you see, this is called Table 34. These are the children in which they sexually manipulated with a stopwatch to find out how many times these children would have sexual orgasm. And you can see the age of the children and the number of sexual orgasms that they had, and then the time period involved. The youngest is 5 months old, 3 orgasms, 11 month, 2 years, 2.5. They're all minors. They're all up. The oldest is 14. So then the question is, well, what is a sexual orgasm in children who are minors, who don't have sexual orgasms? This is the definition of that. How do you identify an orgasm in young children? Kenzie answered this on page 161 of that book. Writing, he said, it involves more than violent convulsion of the whole body, heavy breathing, groaning, sobbing, and more violent cries, sometimes with an abundance of tears, especially among younger children. Some males experience excruciating pain and may scream. The males in the present group will fight away from the partner, the rapist, and make violent attempts to avoid climax. So this is sadomasochism. This is illegal by any definition of the word. These are pedophiles, and this was the foundation for the sexual revolution in America. And this person, Kenzie, he was promoted by the media twice. Time magazine had, in one case, his picture, and another case, his name on the front cover, giving positive promotion to this book and this work. And again, why couldn't Christianity oppose this? Because they rejected Father. It's so clear. There's nothing more clear than, the sun coming up in the morning. And if this is Christianity's responsibility, and they couldn't do it because they rejected the teachings of Father that would have given them the power, the insight, the conviction, the determination, the biblical foundation to be able to oppose this, and they couldn't do it. And therefore, this sexual revolution run rampant in America. Kenzie provided the scientific, pseudo-scientific basis for the sexual revolution. Again, you've got academia involved with Harvard University. Who's going to oppose Harvard University? You've got the media behind him. Who's going to oppose the media? The only people that could do that were the religious people, but they were silenced because they rejected Father. This is so clear. On the communist side, it's the same thing. It's astonishingly clear. Then Playboy magazine linked together with Kenzie. Kenzie provided the science. Playboy provided the money, because now they started publishing. The first Playboy magazine was published in 1953. Father said 1945 to 1952. 1 year later, then Playboy magazine begins this publication. This is what Hugh Hefner said. His name is Hugh Hefner. If we recognize sex as not necessarily limited to procreation, in other words, sex has nothing to do with having children, then we should also acknowledge openly that it is not necessarily limited to love. So this is the philosophy exactly opposite what the principle is teaching. Sex has nothing to do with life and nothing to do with love. And Father said, no, sex is love, life, and lineage. And this guy is saying, no, it's not. Nothing to do with procreation, nothing to do with life, nothing to do with love. This philosophy would have been killed in its tracks if Christianity had accepted Father. And so we have to go back and find this. So we now had 4 sexual revolutions: the sexual revolution, the divorce revolution, the cohabiting, and now the same-sex revolution. It's a domino game. And we're now seeing the effects of this. And I believe with Mother's influence, we can reverse this tide if, as Mother says, accept me as the only begotten daughter. It's not just a personal thing that Mother is involved into. It's behind Mother is true Father, and behind that is God's providence. And if you're going to accept true Mother, you've got to study what they are teaching. And so these kind of things, I think that's enough for now. Well, the 5th, of course, the Pure Love Revolution. But those are thoughts in my mind that would, I mean, definitely. I also when I visited these island nations, the only people that I met who opposed the Chinese influence, the money, they're buying up these islands, honestly speaking. The only people that opposed them were the Christian leaders, not the politicians. They want money. So if we want to oppose China, we've got to have a Christian base, and that will resonate globally. And I believe the seed for that is in these countries that have within their constitution that they are defined as a Christian nation by definition. So if we want to open up China, I mentioned before you came, Jorge, I said, I'm so disappointed in the Muslim world. They've got influence in China by money, the oil money. And the Muslims should be speaking out a bit against the Uyghur being indoctrinated, being the human rights violation, the prison camps that they are in. The Uyghurs are being kidnapped in other countries and sent back to China for persecution. Why isn't the Muslim population speaking out? One word from Saudi Arabia or some of these nations, well, we're not going to sell oil to China unless you address, but nothing is happening. So I believe this is not just Korea and Japan, which I think is very important, but also on the global stage, the influence in China. In terms of what our goals need to be, my goal, honestly speaking, is to have Pope Francis blessed and hold a blessing ceremony in St. Peter's Square. I had that opportunity already one time when Dr. Walsh and Taj Hamad met with Pope Francis. Before that meeting, Taj Hamad contacted me, and I explained to him about the understanding of the Bible, to using the Bible to prove that Jesus should have been married. Because we cannot prove the importance of marriage to a Christian population by sociological studies, because they're already there and it's not working. We cannot use sociological data to persuade the Christian community. It's not working, but the data is there. So we must persuade Christians to understand the importance of marriage. The best way to do that is to teach them from the Bible, not from the data, teach from the Bible why Jesus should have been married. And then that will lend its foundation to understanding the true meaning of the marriage of the Lamb and mother's position as the begotten daughter, all from the Bible. And so I developed this presentation and I wrote it out. Dr. Wilson published it in this unification journal that he publishes. And I shared it with Christians in the Philippines, and they were, I believe, quite astounded by that, because it now then, what it shows is that the entire purpose of the Bible, from Genesis to Revelations, the Alpha and the Omega, everything in the Bible has one purpose: establish God's lineage of marriage love and life on earth. And it's the salvation, it's these things of salvation are distractions. Anyway, I can go into a lot of that. So I shared this with Taj Hamad well before he met Pope Francis. And then Taj Hamad said to me, what would you like to do? And I said, I would like to teach Pope Francis this teaching. But I don't think I can do that because he's too busy. But what I would like to do is to ask Pope Francis to dedicate 3 or 4 of his top clergy from the Catholic Church and let us teach them. And then they can report back to Pope Francis. I said, this is what I want. Todd said, okay, write me a letter. So I wrote a letter to Pope Francis. And I sent it to Todd. He said, okay, I will give it to him personally. I said, okay, good. Then just before that meeting, then Todd called me and he said, do you still want to do this? It may be difficult at this time. Dr. Walsh is going to be there. He said that he was obviously uncertain that it was the right time to deliver this letter to Pope Francis. I said, it's okay. If you don't think it's the right time, I trust you. And then, but we still have that agreement. So they've had the meeting with Pope Francis, so we could still write the letter. And this is in my mind the last few days, actually, since we talked about this PCL meeting. Then I'm thinking, I want to write to Taj. He's now in Saudi Arabia, and I'm working with him, especially for the YSP, their consultative status application to the United Nations. The head of these 17 nations that will decide if YSP can have consultative status, the head of that committee is from Sudan, and he's a personal friend of Taj. So we hope that can go forward also. So we still have the agreement. If I write to Taj or talk to him and say, let's now deliver that letter to Pope Francis, and then start to educate the Catholic Church about this. Because the pedophilia that is now being exposed within the Catholic Church in Europe, in Germany, in America, and if they open it up in Philippines, it will probably destroy the Catholic Church. So they need to, this is the solution to that, is they need to make a paradigm shift to protect themselves. And they can do that only not by, prosecuting priests who are pedophiles. That's not enough. They've got to make a theological paradigm shift, and they cannot do it without true parents. It's not possible. It would have happened before in 1945. So the Catholic Church, they don't know it, but they desperately need us. Desperate. It's not an option. And we can help them to make the shift within their theological structure that can preserve their church. I strongly believe that. So that's one option that I want to just share with this committee, is that we have a possibility to write a letter to Pope Francis and ask him, again, to dedicate 3 or 4 of his top people, and we educate them. We did this with the communists in Nepal. I met the Prime Minister of Nepal with Honorable Eknath, and the Prime Minister was a communist. And I said, I want to teach you Father Moon's VOC work. But I said, you're too busy and it's not realistic. But give us 3 or 4 of your people. We will train them or teach them and let them report back to you. And I said, these people need to be clear in communism, strong communists, not weak-minded. They need to be loyal to you so they'll report honestly. They need to be educated because the content that we're going to share is not a simple content. They have to have the capability to understand that. And so Prime Minister Baburam Bhattarai sent 3 people when we came to Philippines and 5 people to Thailand. And we taught those communist leaders. Those communist leaders told us that this ideology is better than communism. And when they went back, they reported that to Prime Minister Baburam Bhattarai. And then he was shocked. he said, well, next time I need to go. And yes, so I think this strategy of our ability to work with Pope Francis, I think it will work. I think it will work. The other thing Julius mentioned in his video presentation with his slides, that the founding members should be religious leaders. I think as we develop that, we need educators, teachers, and people in the government, because we want these programs to be in the educational system, and we need political leaders also, and we have them. So I think it would be not just a religious group of Christians, but let's have a larger foundation. The one other thing is that Dr. Jin Sung Bae, who is head of the HJ Education Department, wrote to me 2 or 3 days ago, and he wants to give money to develop education programs. And his initial response was in schools in the Philippines. And we all know that he's put a lot of effort and time into his curriculum that he has written, but they are technically, actually, they're not usable at this stage. He's rewriting them and making them less religious. I don't know that that's the answer. My thinking is, I think that the strategy that he's working with is not correct. He's trying to create one curriculum that can be used globally. I think that's impossible. I think we need to have local curriculums in almost each nation, because you've got to tap into that culture. You've got to tap into that history. You've got to tap into that constitution. You've got to tap into their heroes. And, Korea can't do that because they don't know that. So I advised him that instead of trying to write a curriculum, what he needs to do is to monitor and approve curriculum and support them being written locally, because that's, if they're written locally, then they will be implemented in the school system. To take a curriculum written in Korea and bring it to anywhere else in the world, it's not going to work in my mind. But that's his strategy. And I'm trying to educate him through his secretary that, this is something different. So recently he proposed to give money, finances. He proposed $5,000 to help this initiative. So my response was, can we rewrite and edit the work that you're doing? We can use that foundation, but if you're not going to give us the editorial privilege to input the culture and the history and the heroes that are local, that will have the emotional impact for those young kids, the people that they know, then I don't think the program will work. So anyway, we're working with that. That is one project that also came up. So there is some support that I would like to use it and direct it toward this program. I would have to talk with him and work with him. You could do the same thing, that this be under the HJ education program, and that we be given kind of the responsibility, and he be really in the parental figure to oversee and look, but let us create it locally. And I think that will be a very powerful kind of a win-win situation. And I mentioned also, I think I've mentioned it at our Cheniwan meeting, and I maybe have mentioned it here before, but there is an option for us to reach out to the government of Oman. Oman is a Muslim country in the Middle East. And this is again through Taj Hamad, and he's now in Saudi Arabia, but before he left, he called me or wrote to me and said that the government of Oman is asking him, do you have educational material that we can use to help teach our young people? And this request came through the ambassador of Oman to the United Nations. And so I contacted President Koji-san because I can't respond on my own. And so I talked with Koji-san together, and I we were talking, then Koji asked me, what do you want to do? What is your strategy to reply? And then I said, my reply would be like this. Again, the same strategy. Tell the ambassador of Oman that he should select 2 or 3 people that he trusts, that the government trusts. And I want to introduce them to the work that we are doing in the Philippines. Because our program with these religious regional youth forums is unbelievably powerful. We just finished the last one this morning. And again, the response from the government side, and these are people that don't know us at all, was phenomenal. Julius was there, Bishop Soria was there, and they said, this is something that we have to expand on, we have to build on. So I said to Taj, I'd like to take those people from Oman and introduce them to what we're doing in the Philippines, not only the VOC work, but also the Pure Love education work, the community service work, because YSP is, according to Koji, the most active chapter of YSP in the world is the Philippines. And so if people see what young people are doing, and this is what motivated the Filipino leaders, is they could see in the young people the character that they want in their young people, in their own children. And this was, then I said, then we would go back to Oman and we will help them put the principle into the curriculum that they create, because they know their culture, they know their history, they know their heroes. I don't know them. They know their constitution. It wasn't until I moved to the Philippines that I realized, the Philippine Constitution has these things in it. And one of I think the key points of our program in the Philippines is it's linked directly to the Constitution. The term patriotism, our theme is the role of patriotic youth in nation building. So the term patriotism comes from the Constitution, not from us, and not from the United Nations, and not from America. So it has to be local to have the power to be able to convince, the power to give the teacher strength and determination and clarity and conviction, that has to have that local root. If it's missing that local root, then it won't be effective. That's my clear understanding of this. So these are kind of the thoughts that are in my mind now. One thing that came up in this last meeting, it was not today, but it was yesterday morning, we explained to the government after the regional youth forum, we always have a time together where we always reflect with all of the partners. They're all there and we are there, and we share maybe half an hour together, and everybody shares their reflection. And we did it again this morning. But one of the key, in my mind, kind of the key elements that came out was the government of the Philippines wants to make, it's called a whole nation approach, not just the military approach to solving communism. They want the whole nation approach. So the whole nation approach must include a religious element. But the government cannot do that, because if the government does that, then it looks like they favor one religion over the other. So they need an organization that has this interfaith heart and understanding. Otherwise, the government can't work with any of them. They're not working with the Catholics to do this. They're not working with the Protestants. There are churches that are bigger than us. But we have the uniqueness that we have, that the government loves and can work with, is our universal interfaith approach. They really like this. Julius's lecture this time was a big hit. And he talks about the 5 universal principles of peace. And they said they even wanted to make it more powerful and put it right at the end. It's kind of like the conclusion of everything. This was the suggestion of the government. They said, your lecture brings everything together. And you talk about the family, and you talk about God, and you talk about spirituality, and you talk about reconciliation and living for others. So they suggested that Julius's lecture be the final lecture of this whole series. This was the recommendation from the government. They want to make our presentations more powerful. This was amazing. And so we told the government, if you want this whole of nation approach, then we have this universal interfaith. And they said, yes, this is what we need to do. And then also within the Constitution, when it defines a patriot, it says a patriot must have ethical and spiritual values. So again, the government wants to work with religion, but they can't, but they can work with us. This is a major, major breakthrough that I don't see happening anywhere in the world. This close collaboration with the government that we're working with. We've got the documentation to show the effectiveness of the programs. This time we had the local community went out and got recommendations and letters of support from local governors, local leaders, and it was a tremendous impact. And they willingly did this. The one thing we're missing, honestly, we don't have enough money. And I've heard this report. It cost them $200 to do the pre-program promotion. And they said, we don't have enough money. So I'm trying to get Jinsung Bay to give them money, but I haven't been able to do that. Somehow, it's not a lot of money. At some point, I'm going to offer some, but at the same point, I think we need to find out. True parents have talked about strategic sub-regions and supporting some of them. So I think this project, if it's written up correctly and powerfully, then I think it should warrant consideration for at least some financial. It doesn't need to be a lot, and it shouldn't be everything. And local governments should put something into it, and they're doing that in the Philippines as well. They're planning to pay us. Actually, our lecturers are going to get honorariums, and I believe all but one of our lecturers have donated that money toward this initiative so that we can have the money to run the program. So the government is paying us something, which is, it should be like that. We shouldn't go in and just pay everything ourselves. But again, we do need some support. Anyway, I mentioned that because it was mentioned to me. Is there anything else that I've written down here? I think that's enough. It's a long report. I'm sorry for that. I want to go back and just start where I began. President Hori, I believe this can be the defining contribution of your presidency for the Asia Pacific 2 region that can have global impact. And I say that again, saying that your participation is I think you know that, but I want to say it. I'm sorry for that, but I want to say it because I feel it in my heart, and I think we all feel it in our hearts, that your support and participation will be key. As you've mentioned, you're already reporting directly to True Mother. So we want to support you. We want to make this we will make this program successful. We all feel that it has huge potential. And it's a beautiful name, the Pacific Clergy Leadership Conference. Thank you for your time and participation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow, there are so many great points, contents to give blessing to our Pope and all Christianity. Because really somebody have to do, and really if we determine and reach them, this really most maybe mother happy. This one is the really great revolution in the
That's the
history.
ultimate goal. Ultimate goal.
Yeah. The world will be changed. So, and also education curriculum is really we can put many kind of goal and really target and step. So I think only listen those vision or goal already we are inspired and get power. So this is really great. Yeah.
One point more. Dr. Jin Sung Bae's office has asked if I could report about the work that we are doing in the Philippines at their IAAP conference in Korea. Because again, it's a very substantial program, and then it shows one model that can be considered of how to work with, and that there's nothing. It's just it was a more of a suggestion from the secretary, and she will take that. She wants to take that to Dr. Jin Sung Bae. It hasn't come from him directly. It came from his secretary. Her name is Nancy. And she said, would you be willing to? I said, of course. I mean, I would be honored to, but so if it comes formally, then I will let you know, but it hasn't come formally yet. It's just been discussed at the secretary level right now. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, thank you. So please give other comment.
Yeah.
Okay, Reverend Jong.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, President Hori, and thanks, Dr. Kittle. Yeah, I see the PCLC, the Pacific Christian Leadership Conference, as doing three roles, and the one role is education. The second role is community projects, and the third role is peace festivals, which is the blessing. And all of those are big and they can expand. And I see as a goal, which sort of adds to what is the thing that we can offer to all Christians, is that, of course, we're explaining heavenly parents, true parents, blessing, we're explaining all of that. But I think what we're giving is we're giving a forum or a place where we are defining values. I see that PCLC to be recognized as the main group that clarifies and defines values, because once we have universal values and everyone understands them, everyone says, oh, this value or that value, but nobody has said who is the group that defines the values. True Father and True Mother give us the values, but we need this group to be the one that's recognized everywhere that defines values. And those values means how we do the true family ministry, how we explain the blessing, the need for the blessing, how we explain, how to defeat communism, because we're in a war of ideologies, and it really comes to values. And I have experience in the islands for a few years in Solomons, and Greg's also gone into the islands. And what I found that was overwhelming is that, and as Dr. Kittle said, he went there, they are ready to receive. They want guidance. And what has failed every other group is that every other group gave guidance with conditions. You give us this, you do this, and we'll guide you. But what I see PCLC doing is we have to give guidance with respect. If we respect their culture, we respect their heart, we respect their tradition, and then say, guiding them to see that this value, that this teaching that comes from heaven, that comes through our true parents, really is the value that they are looking for. And then we respect them as being equal sons and daughters of heaven, then they will, I believe, completely join or change overnight, because every country that's gone into the islands has treated them and caused them to get a slave mentality. I remember when Dr. Yong and we toured around the islands, he started to say, we have to stop the island people from thinking that they have a slave mentality, but they need to stand up, because otherwise they can't unite together to be one nation of Oceania. So I really believe that our core thing that we are giving is that we are defining values, and eventually everyone will say, oh, how do we know something? Well, let's go to PCLC and they'll explain what it is. And we have so many things to teach, core values, the true family ministry, the blessing, all of those things are done. And recently I saw fathers say, mothers say, even members say, that we talk about family, we talk about freedom, we talk about faith, and that those three things should become like core essence of PCLC. We're fighting for family, we're fighting for true freedom, and we're fighting for true faith, so that we are one family. And Mother, just recently I was reading a speech and she said, family, freedom, and faith. And I found that to be a heartistic answer to what is the driving force. Of course, we have service. Of course, we have living for others. But we got to know why. Why are we doing it? And I think that by, as Dr. Kittle's beautifully said many things, but I feel there's those three areas. I'll say them again and just finish. Is one is education, two is community projects, and there's so many community projects that each nation needs, and finally the peace festivals, the blessings, and that they if we do that service with a project in education, they will run to the blessing, because they see so much value that we are giving to them. So I'm also excited about PCLC. It will really change, and again finish with, if we have guidance with respect, then they will be our family. Okay, thank you.
Reverend John.
Yeah.
Okay, and next, maybe Bishop Soria first, then Reverend Stone. Can you unmute yourself?
He got frozen.
Yes, okay. Good evening, President Mori, Dr. Robert Kito, and Reverend John, and Dr. Malik
It's
Dem.
difficult to understand you. Your mic is, we can hear your voice. The volume is enough, but it seems
Broken
to
your
be,
voice.
Very scratchy.
yeah. Cannot understand, and I'm sure
Sorry,
President.
I think I better. Am I now sounding a little bit okay?
Oh yeah.
All right. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Good evening, President Hori, Dr. Robert Kittle, Reverend Julius, Reverend John, Reverend Greg Stone, and Reverend Yutaka. I'm really very happy to be part of this core conference in order to draft what's going to be the Pacific Clergy Leadership Conference. And truly, I am excited what's really going to happen with this organization. We have been working for a time already here in the Philippines as far as reaching out the religious leaders, and we haven't heard any movements outside of the Philippines. And now that we have this organization, the Pacific Clergy Leadership Conference, now then it's really going to push for the dawning and establishment of the Pacific Rim civilization, and that which our victorious true parents is really pushing. And now this would be the time that the religious communities would really push their own voices that is going to be heard in all the discussions. because I think, and I really believe, with the statistics that you already presented a while ago, um, Reverend Julius and Dr. Robert Kittle, it's really a significant number for Christians in the Pacific, that if they would really be tapped, then it is going to be a solid force in order to make an influence and effect. And of course, what Dr. Robert has already presented, that the work towards the religious perspective is concerned is really pushing more and more, and it's getting into the table of the in the discussion. I think the contribution of the Pacific Clergy Leadership Conference would really make things more clear and clearer, and really would prepare the Pacific Rim in order to receive our victorious true parents. But of course, this is easily said than done, because there will be a lot of work ahead of us. And with the Philippines activities of Oceania and the Pacific, and now Indonesia is getting shaken up also. That I think around 30 million Christians in Indonesia. 30 million. So it's a power to be reckoned with. That if you'll be able to motivate the Christians there and really bring them to the understanding of true parents' role in this providence, then it would make really a difference. And yes, the whole nation approach, which Dr. Robert Kittle is really very comprehensive, and I think with this is the unique capacity of our movement, that we can have an interdisciplinary, intercultural, and even international cooperation in order to push for an agenda. Uh, I think that will be our greatest contribution for these efforts, especially now that China is coming over, and the threat of communism, which China is bringing to this region. Uh, so I'm really excited, and it's now that I so far what the Asian Clergy Leadership Conference in the Philippines is only trying to reach out to the clergies, and we are losing even some of them already from the Roman Catholic. Now it's, I think, with the expansion of the scope of the Asian Clergy Leadership Conference, or the Pacific Clergy Leadership Conference, to not only include the clergies, the religious leaders, but also include even the women, the young people, and so involving them would really support the whole nation's approach. And true, I support the idea. And true also what Reverend John was saying, that we have all of these core activities that we can present to the community, and there is no reason that they would not accept us, because we have all of these educational component, which is really very, very strong. And I had the opportunity to participate in our military initiative for interfaith building. And I said we have a very strong educational component as far as communism is concerned, anti-communism movement is concerned. I would like to share this with you. And so they're calling again for another meeting this coming 15. That would be the day after tomorrow. And I would have the opportunity to explain to them a little bit more of what is really our anti-communist educational component in here in the Philippines. And then I find it that it is really a potent curriculum in order that even the military has to adapt. And that has been shown already when CAUSA was first introduced to the Philippines. And that was in 1980, in 1996, when CAUSA arrived in the Philippines. And even the Philippine Military Academy, the nuns had been mobilized in order to, and so if we would be able to present our initiative very clearly with them, then it will, the snowball effect would really happen once again. And that will be the revival of, and I would suppose not only the Philippines would have a revival, but the entire Asia Pacific region would really be able to have that revival. And truly this would be in support of the presidency of President Hori, and truly this would showcase for the whole world that what we are doing here really made an impact to the communities, impact the nations, and even the cooperation of all the nations in Asia Pacific. So yes, that's true. I'm really just excited, and the enthusiasm of Dr. Robert Kittle when he was sharing about his contribution and what he have done so far. I really felt it, and now we are being fired up in order to reach out to our communities and to the women and more clergy, and especially the young people. Thank you. Thank you. And
Thank you very much,
that's it.
Mr. Surya. Thank you. So the last is the Levanston.
Yes, yeah, President Hori and Dr. Kitlan, leaders. I'm also very excited about this PCLC initiative. Having worked in Oceania for so many years, I understand, you know, that the key culture within Oceania nations is actually Christianity, and I've taught, you know, like the UPF approach, which is a more social approach towards the principle, and the island people, they listen to that and they just don't quite get it. They don't speak the same language as say secular Australians, you know. But when you start just teaching the Bible and you say, you know, Jacob and Esau, and you go into the biblical explanation, oh, it's all clear to them. It's like that's the language they speak. So Mother's goal is Vision 2027. A third of the population, 7 regions, definitely Oceania has to be one of those regions, and hopefully several other of them. It has to be one of those regions, has to. So how are we gonna fulfill Vision 2027? We only have what, 6 years left. We've got to reach the Christians. We've got to impact them. There's no other way we can actually fulfill that. Christianity has been the single most powerful thing stopping us breaking through with the island nations. It's been the fundamentalist Christians that block true parents coming to Fiji, you know, that oppose us strongly in Solomon Islands and even Vanuatu. We win the Christians with this PCLC, and we've won the nations. We can actually offer nations to Mother. We can. So the key is just working with the Christians, breaking through. And how to do that? We need more power, you know. So the island nations are small, enclosed. They look to big nations. So you connect with the ACLC in America. You get Archbishop Stellings, you get Noel Jones, you get Jesse Edwards, you know, coming in and speaking for Mother, supporting Mother, getting behind the blessing. These nations will be won that way. They'll be won that way. So this PCLC bringing together and bridging with the North American continent and the continental Asia, I think this is also the role of Oceania. Oceania is the feminine region. It must unite, must work with the continents. So I think the PCLC can be like a bridge to bring together WCLC, ACLC in America, Asian clergy in Asia, and so on. I think that this PCLC will be more of a catalyst to bring the power of this Christian outreach together. Just finally, I think regarding the education content, I really support Dr. Kittle's approach. The island nations, although they're fundamentally Christian, of course, their kids go out to Australia, New Zealand, and US, and so on. They come back, and then this kind of secularism, this free sex culture comes back, and it's really it's a real contradiction to their traditional culture, respect for elders, purity, and so on. So we have the answer to these questions. We have the answer to all these questions, and our content is what they're hungering for, to address the issues that they're facing: the breakup of family violence, the waywardness of their youth. They're looking for this. We have the answer, and this is what the education content is very important. We have to strategically figure out what they need and how we can deliver it. And we've got the content, and they will grab it. They will grab it, and even into the schools, definitely. Anyway, I'm just so excited, and I feel that this is the purpose of Asia Pacific 2. This is the key for Asia Pacific 2. Just looking at it from my point of view at this stage, this is the key, and we can make a tremendous contribution through this, even to reunification of North and South Korea and so on. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think really all concept is already, we can see many goal already and process and organizing, how to detail more, organize more detailed contents. So I hope Reverend Julius help to develop additional PPT contents together.
Yes, I was just checking, President Hori, for Oceania, in Melanesia island nations, 95.11% are Christians. Micronesia nations, 93.24% Christians. Polynesian nations, 96.13% Christians. It's basically like average around 95% Christians all over Oceania. Amazing. And I just the population not so big, but yeah, but in terms of the whole nation, it's really big percentage.
Yeah, so that's why when we approach as one of the, the image of sect, it's terrible. But when we approach like a PCLC, it will be really good.
Yeah.
So we need during this period, we shall change our mindset and the way of approach. Some of us, something still we have some, we regard ourselves like one of the cult mindset. They still hide to, hide something, and and also make people to join our specific full-time membership work or something. So that's that kind of approach is if we do properly, entire nation can come to, we can carry entire nation to mother. So then we can do everything what we whatever we want. So yeah,
Got you.
yeah. So no meaning to make some I mean the so we need change our concept because the unification church approach is once Christian fail to accept to father, then started. But now, when if they accept to mother, it a kind of restoration, and then total. I mean total approach. Entire nation can join, or entire nation can receive the education of our education, whatever YSP or or VOC or about purity, or yeah, whatever. So yeah, we need a beyond the I mean an unification church approach. We need a most uh, uh, so so I mean is we if we can we challenge as I mean original approach what two parents wanted uh, on the first place, on the first stage. So in 1980
Exactly.
to
Exactly.
52, yeah, around that period. So entire Christianity accept two parents, and then the government apply whole contents of two parents into their nation by themselves. So that's the basic concept. Yeah. Yeah. Then we can create entire world within 7 years. So I think that.
I'm sorry, may I take leave? I need to leave, if I may.
Okay, Dr. Kito. We'll report more if some developing matter.
Please, sorry, I need to leave.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kito.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So, I think this is really good topic, good target in this Pacific region. Of course, Mada talking about the strategic sub-region, but before that, really future strategic region itself. Then really, even not strategic or not strategic, this itself is really contribution for Turmada and really world providence. This as the Pacific and also Christian. I think really we are going to the main target. So really depends on our education and development, I think. And also one more, my thinking also is similar with also another everyone, especially the education, because if UPF Ambassador of Peace, they receive education through APLC. After receiving education, they think they want to contribute anyway. There are some kind of the learning. They learn good things, maybe this kind of level as the Ambassador of Peace. But if Christian minister listen direct divine principle, the mission or Jesus or Messiah, I think not only just receive good education level, they can commit for Messiah and true parents by own self. So really this education point is also powerful directly to give a Christian people with the divine principle. That's why I think really this is great things. Okay.
President Hori, I was just thinking because we were discussing about minority strategy. Like in Malaysia, we are approaching non-Muslims as minority strategy.
Yeah.
Like Chinese, so But this one is majority strategy, this PCLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's another strategy.
So
Thinking
then
of
we,
majority.
yeah, so then we set total strategy.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
But yeah, but the majority strategy is a little bit more careful. We need more careful, and
Yes.
we set more, I mean, the more specified, and yeah, take care a lot of aspect. So we need consider.
Yes.
So I mean, yeah, clever people, and also the VIP is very fast determined.
Mm.
Mm. So if um, if they disappoint something, they just they just fly away. So just disappear suddenly. So I experienced a lot of those things when I um, yeah, when we approach the most highest university students.
Mm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
if they catch something good, yeah, they stay. But some disappointment just
I know.
so quick, they escape.
Yeah.
So
Like John the Baptist. John the Baptist come the our side is good, but if
mm,
opposite side become
Mm.
big obstacle.
Big
yeah,
problem. And crucify
Yeah.
because of John the Baptist.
Mm.
So I think anyway, maybe we can think what's the next step. So maybe basically maybe Reverend Julius try to develop contents. If need, also we discuss more some small meeting or individually or gather again, then develop contents. Then I think can include more detailed plan or including another leader or have to plan what's the better way to next step.
So yeah, I think so. It's only for I mean the uh, the 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 heavy dude is just for Julius. I'm curious about that. We need arrange some uh, uh, sorting one by one the topic and ideas what we discussed today, and also we need I mean the ideas and some goals what we achieve, uh, several goals, and the role and some considerations. We need a grouping some. We need a divide uh, ideas by grouping, and then we develop more. So we need arrange the such ideas, and then we discuss one by one topic. I mean, so yeah, today the so for example, the blessing of Pope is the ultimate goal. So it's it will be should be the last part, not the first one. So, so we need some uh, I mean the plan to to uh, to have a launching of PCLC, and also yeah those things, and one by one, and also we need a we should make a list to contact.
Yes.
So already we contact the list of Christian clergies already. We contacting people, and then we have to challenge, and in future to move the I mean in future we need a name list to make a big pastors or big clergies
Yes.
to make a game changer like Noel Jones or or some if some great pastor join us, it really make a atmosphere changes. So we need such a target target names. So we need some
Yeah, mega
on
church.
present one and challenge and target. So we need three kind of name list, and then nation by nation. Then it will be clear what we do or what and we can check what the national leader did. So based on that, we can see what is going on. So without such a goals or name list, we don't know. Just so we I can I want the I mean what we proceed in visual. I want check by at glance. So that's easier to understand for everybody.
Yes. So I think maybe it's okay to make a KakaoTalk group, this PCLC core leader group. Then maybe I will post today's video, this meeting video. Then maybe because our Oceania side also, we have a key leader, some national leader who are thinking to involve. Then maybe we can share today's meeting contents. Then maybe get also idea. Maybe Reverend Julius side, also some ACLC or core leader or key person, share those contents together. Then maybe we can concrete more idea and concept, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think currently maybe discuss our staff or leader or detail more. Also the make a concept paper and the target that which President Hori said to make a name list, number, or next step. I think we have to prepare. This is important things.
And also we need encourage to write wish papers for that.
Yes. Spiritual world work together.
Yeah. So
Together.
one day I want to introduce the importance of wish papers because in the traditional local religions, there are something like that. In personal, they just write down their personal wish, but originally our wish paper is a bigger wish, for world to liberate spiritual world first. So the I gave uh, I taught the guidance for in Japan church. Please please write your personal wish at the last one, not the first.
Yes.
Public one first.
Yeah, the bigger one first, and then gradually. So everything has an order. So then put so so then naturally the way of thinking also be more public, public mind. Yeah, always we have a personal wish, but when we ask our wish to heaven, whenever we write down public one first, then gradually more a personal thing. So all when we ask something to heaven, but always the total series of wishes always public thing is first, and then so this is the way. So so that kind of thing is very, I mean, we need upgrade the concept of wish paper. Otherwise, you know, even our member blames we wrote wish paper, but nothing happened. but but I point out you just focused on your own wishes.
Personal.
Yeah. Do you write your neighbor's wish? Yeah. So we put everybody's wish together. So
Yes.
so we need keep offering PCLC entire AP Asia Pacific to members offers which paper. It is very helpful for to mother, and also it's helpful for church finance, and also it helpful for realize PCLC. So that kind of thing is needed. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah. Let us arrange, and so we
We can communicate through KakaoTalk also. What do you think about the next meeting? Just we don't decide yet, or we decide now?
so what is good? What do you
Today
think?
is 13, Sunday.
Next Sunday will be the regional Family Peace Festival.
Next
Right.
Sunday.
President Hori, we decided maybe we will not do yet regional level because 27 we have
So
Peace Festival
yeah.
IHQ, so maybe like every week we have Peace Festival, so maybe
I wrote you exactly
yes.
that one.
Yeah, so that's why, and also not enough time to like get testimony, because if we want to get from many countries like that, so that's why maybe July we do the regional level Family Peace Festival.
Yeah, that's good. That I think that's good.
Yeah.
Because we have
So the Sunday night is better next Sunday, temporary.
If everyone is okay, I'm okay.
So I think they maybe temporarily decide, but we can communicate with KakaoTalk if really necessary or postpone. But basically, I think we can decide first, June 20, same time, 8 p.m. Japan time.
What do you think that time? Is it a good time? More Aria? Or
Aria is better. How about the Reverend Julius?
For us, okay, but actually, Dr. Kittle, maybe too early in the morning.
I see, I see. Because 6
But I don't know,
a.m.
maybe that time, maybe already he's in the Philippines. I'm not sure.
Philippines, and he said he will come back July 8th.
I
So
see. So
still,
still in.
I
Okay.
think better same time, I think.
same time? Okay.
Yeah, because this time it's 6 a.m. when we started. So 6 a.m. in Chicago.
Mm.
So if
But he
earlier,
didn't
then
sleep
maybe.
anyway.
Yeah,
He didn't sleep
from
all night.
afternoon. In our regional youth forum, we start 1 o'clock in Philippines. He joined the first part, and then I saw him disappear in the Zoom. So maybe he sleep a little bit, and then maybe around 3 p.m. he connect again. So that's 2 a.m. in Chicago. So maybe he just slept 2 hours, 12 to 2, like that.
So maybe same
Amazing.
time.
Same time, yeah.
Yes,
He said he has more schedule early morning time there in Chicago, and then he sleep daytime.
Or maybe Reverend Julius, if you can ask if Dr. Kito better
Yeah.
Aria, even 5 a.m.
Yeah, I will check
Because
with him.
if many event then finish little bit earlier, then he can sleep also.
Yeah. Okay.
Presently,
So
1
so
hour
that
earlier.
means
Yeah, I'm okay.
7 p.m. Japan time.
Japan time. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Then I think let's try. Okay, so I think we will really develop contents. So presently, if you can give a benediction prayer, first meeting.
Okay. 사랑하시는 하늘 부모님, PCLC의 첫 만남을 이렇게 가질 수 있는 은혜 진심으로 감사드립니다. 단식께서 주관하시고 단식께서 축복하시는 가운데 이 기독교 섭리가 아시아 태평양에서 진전이 되고 또한 한국 기독교계와 일본 기독교계와 그리고 WCLC의 모든 것을 자극하고 이 아시아 태평양 절반을 넘는 인구들이 기독교 신도들이기에 당신의 섭리가 여기에 있고 당신께서 기뻐하실 수 있는 성과를 거둬들일 수 있다고 생각합니다. 진심으로 당신한테 효도를 저희들도 드릴 수 있는 그러한 주제로서 이 PCLC를 진심으로 감사하고 또 열심으로 추진해 나갈 것을 다짐하면서 오늘 되어진 모든 내용들 진심으로 감사드리며 축복 주신 가정 호리마사이 앞에 보고 아뢰었사옵나이다. 아주.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, our presentary and to leaders.
Yes.
President Tori, thank you very much.
Already midnight in almost Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, 11:30 now, 11:30.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Night.